A lot of people are talking about unconscious bias awareness, which is great. You're biased, I'm biased. Now what do we do about it? Here's what we do. We get more aware. Then we get educated, we get informed. We grow our empathy so we can better connect with other people. Let's start with me. I'm white, cis, able-bodied, married, straight, mother, middle class. These classifications are privileges I carry and they give me power. Imagine that we all exist within different systems, starting with the small microsystems, our families, and moving ever larger to include our schools, work, communities, country, and even the entire world. We impact the systems and the systems impact us. The green arrow pushing in on me represents all the isms we each carry. I'm a woman. In this society, there are more benefits to being male than female. Here's how we interact with one another. We are all biased. We are all impacting one another with our power and the collective power of the institutions that help to manage systems. Sometimes we benefit from power and sometimes it pushes us down. Sometimes it molds us in ways we might not like. Here's a twist. You can only see the arrows pointing at yourself. So if the same arrow is pointing at someone else, you can see that too. What arrows do you see in others? Wouldn't you like to know what you don't see? Let's first talk about awareness. Awareness allows you to see your own privilege, power, as well as ways you might experience bias against you. What is bias? Everybody has bias. The human brain has to manage millions of pieces of information every minute, and bias helps us to function, and it is essential for life. Implicit bias is equal to unconscious. Explicit bias is equal to conscious. Implicit bias is formed in the oldest, most primary part of our brains, lizard brain if you will. It's where our initial reactions come from, as well as basic functions like breathing. Explicit bias, on the other hand, comes from the frontal cortex, which is responsible for planning and executive functioning. With awareness, you can begin to control your lizard brain by engaging your frontal cortex and creating new ideas. To review, we all have bias, and we can all manage it versus pretending it isn't there. First, we have to accept, move past denial, and get shame out of the way. Education is the magic wand that lets you begin to see something closer to another person's reality. Education is the step where you are aware of your bias and you become informed of your power arrows as well as your bias arrows through reading, listening, and asking questions. Because you have awareness, you no longer assume. You ask and ask and ask. Empathy helps us to see the world from another person's perspective. Without it, we have awareness and ideally information, but no real attachment to other people. Empathy leads to openness and helps us to accept and move past denial. We know that mindfulness and self-awareness help us to find openness where defensiveness and otheringness was. Empathy also helps us to gain control of that implicit bias. Empathy comes from vulnerability and genuineness, and you can learn both of these things and these ways of being. All of these things are possible. You can become aware, get educated, and grow your empathy, and have FluidEQ, which leads to greater connectivity and less disconnection in every system of your life. What is FluidEQ? Imagine IQ and then emotional quotient, or EQ. Then add awareness and education to get FluidEQ. FluidEQ is the ability to make meaningful connections at home, work, and in the world based on awareness, education, and empathy. At home, it helps you have increased inner knowledge and stronger personal relationships. At work, it helps you to have increased connection to tasks, peers, and greater productivity. In the world, FluidEQ will help you to have increased understanding of others and greater connectivity. So basically, FluidEQ equals increased meaning and productivity. I won't become you or even ever completely see the world as you do. However, with vulnerability, genuineness, and an increased FluidEQ, we can connect better and both be better.